Should take a second to connect.
Looks perfect.
Okay, this works out. All right. I'm ready when you are. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. All right. Hello, everyone out there on YouTube and Instagram. This is Louis with East Oak Studio, and we are so excited today and honored to have the great Justin Donaldson with us. Justin is going to be doing a workshop with East Oak Studio. We're calling it a boutique workshop, where it's going to be both filmed live as well as have in-person people attending on August 28th through 31st. And we'll give you more details about that as we go on. But we wanted everyone to just get a chance to meet Justin. Of course, many of you probably already know him. He is such an incredible filmer and YouTuber, and has done such a great job of building a wonderful following. And Justin, I just thought it would be great for you to give us a chance to get to know you a little bit, to know where you're from, all of the backstory stuff. And also for everyone, you will also hear that Emma, my assistant, the backbone of East Oak Studio, is also with us via audio. So you might hear her. Say hi, Emma. Can you say hi? Maybe she can't. Hold
Maybe
on.
everyone's lost connection, but
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, there
hey,
she is.
how's it going?
Okay. Hey. So anyway, also, what's that?
Oh, I think I just have a slight delay. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's no big deal. So everyone out there, we're going to answer a few questions that you have. Please feel free to give us a few more questions or say hi to us on any of the chats. We're both on YouTube and on Instagram. So plug that in. And Justin, just to start us off, so while people are joining, just tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us how you got started.
So my name is Justin Donaldson, and what I do now primarily is work and teach in gouache painting. I started off probably about 13 years ago when I moved to America for my wife. Moved to America from Australia, which is a little bit of a crazy move to do, but I did it and it was great. But I had about a year of time where I wasn't allowed to work. So just getting visas and everything sorted out. So I had always wanted to paint and had some other sort of creative things in mind that I wanted to do with my life. But just the usual story, right? Everyone in life tells you, you can't do that. That's not going to work for you. So I had a year where I wasn't allowed to do anything else. And so I was like, well, I may as well try this thing. So I kind of got on YouTube, got some local community going, and started to learn to paint. This is a while back now. Eventually, I ended up getting a job with a small games company and starting off painting backgrounds for them. And then within 2 years, I was programming full time, which is not what I wanted to do. And the company folded, and I went individual, right? I went out myself and just tried to make life work. And eventually I did, but I ended up having some friends. I was trying everything to make life as an artist work. But I had some friends who kind of took me through this process of really figuring out what it is that I wanted and that I like with my art. And I was doing a little bit of everything, right? Just trying to appeal to everything and learn all of the things, because that's what you do as an artist. You want to be a great artist and do all of the things. And they were pointing at my painting saying, you really love painting nature. And then when it comes to the people, you just don't care. and so during that time, I was like, you know what, that is right. So I cut back. I got rid of everything else that I was doing other than going out plein air painting, essentially. And from the moment that I did that, and I mean like from the week that I did that and started putting that out online, I went from 400 followers on Instagram to 40,000 followers on Instagram within
Wow.
about like a month. And so this is crazy, crazy for me. And so it's really cool. Like it's a really cool idea that finding yourself and your voice and getting rid of the things that
Mm.
you don't want, because then 100% of my art is just full of joy instead of like a small portion of it. So I've been doing that, and probably the biggest practice that, even since I began, the biggest practice that I have found joy in is plein air painting. This is
Mm.
like going out into nature and just painting from life. And so
Mm.
that's my biggest teacher, is nature, just going out and painting from life. And it's also, I quite often call it the extreme sports of painting, because you go out there, you only have about an hour and a half of time, maybe two if you're lucky, and you're trying to finish something. It's like you have to get in a very different mental headspace,
Mm.
and it's crazy. And so along the way, as I'm doing this, I had kids. And when I had kids and we lived in a small house, I had been oil painting up until this point in time. But that oil paint was just getting everywhere. And so I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm going to try gouache. I had seen like James Gurney, and I had watched some Studio Ghibli backgrounds.
Mhm.
So traditional Japanese animation, they paint with something that is more or less gouache. It's called poster color.
Hmm.
And so I was like, these two things are like the same thing, and I like it. I'm not sure it's exactly what I want, because at the time, the people who were painting with gouache were painting in very specific styles. But it was something that was very portable. I could go out and paint with it, and I could try it. And so when I first tried it, I hated it. Gouache is very difficult. You know, when you're painting with oil, you put the paint down, and the paint is down. Like it's the same value, the same color. Maybe a couple of weeks later, it'll sink in. But with gouache, as it goes from being wet to dry, it goes also from having high specularity, the shininess is
Mhm.
wet, to being matte. And it's basically the most matte paint that we have, which means it goes through the biggest change. And so to begin with, this was just frustrating and I hated it.
Mm.
But I still kept coming back to the results that I was seeing other people getting to. And so I still just kept kind of churning away, trying to figure it out. And yeah, it's taken a long time, but I've gotten to the point where now I don't have to think about those things that
Mhm.
really frustrated me to begin with. Um, and I've learned how to deal with them, how to get what I want out of what I'm doing. And so now, because I've sort of gone from being really frustrated with it to it's basically the only paint that I use these days.
Mhm. Uh-oh, we lost him for a second. Hold on just a minute. Maybe we'll catch him back. So Justin's in a bit of a remote area. So, Emma, are you still there?
Where it doesn't have to just be a
Okay.
sketching medium. It's this thing that you can make full art with. And so that's
Mhm.
something that I'm really here to try and communicate to everyone in general. That's kind of part of my mission, is to explore what it can do and share that.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say for, like, say, an oil painter that is like, well, what benefit does it have to me with how I could learn something more about my medium that I love? What is it that you feel
Oh
are some of the
yes, good
major
question.
benefits?
So when I started oil painting, the idea of when you're painting transparently versus opaquely is present in oil painting.
Mhm.
Um, and it's useful to know and to understand, but it is crucial in gouache. The
Mhm.
medium just flips, it changes between when you're working transparently and opaquely. And the things you can do with it, it's just amazing. And so when I went back from spending a lot of time in gouache and I started painting in oil again,
Mhm.
oil made much more sense to me, because I had fine-tuned my sense of when I'm painting transparently and when I'm painting opaquely, and how can I really get my paint to do what I want it to do quickly. And so there's also this idea that with oil, every time you add a layer, you're adding a complexity to it. You're adding a thickness to it. You're adding a little bit more. So like maybe I need to wait a bit more time before I come back in and put something on top. And in gouache, it dries so quickly that, first of all, you can just paint really quickly. You can finish something. I have some paintings here actually to share. Some of these paintings that are all painted.
Nice.
This was up at Zion National Park, painted on location, just on the spot in one session. And it's the fact that you can do these crazy paintings really quickly.
Yeah.
Because you're getting into the idea of being able to approach painting in a really logical way. I can say, well, I need to do this layer, and then I can do that layer, and then I can do this layer. Or you can paint very directly, but it's the idea that every medium has a thing it needs you to focus on. And for gouache, that's transparency and opacity, that is layering, and that is how can I do this really quickly because I don't have time otherwise, and sort of edge quality.
Yeah, that's something that I've heard about, is that it can help your mark making and your edge quality be stronger because you have to make not only quick decisions, but you can't fuss with it.
That's exactly right. You can fuss with it, but if you're just beginning out, you don't want to fuss with it because that gets complicated really quickly. And so when you're setting out to create a gouache painting, edge quality is actually one of the first things you have to think about. And so because if I put a paint down here and I put paint down here, if I do that and then put the next one down 5 minutes later, it's going to have a very different edge than if I put it down immediately. But I can't really go back and get that edge the way that I want to. And so there's a certain sense of sequencing. If I am going to, let's see, if I'm going to paint this waterfall and I want a really soft edge along here, I need to sequence it so that I paint this and then I paint this right next to it, and then I'll get a soft edge. But if I don't do that, I'm going to get a really hard edge. And so you have to be very intentional. It's like the first thing you think about is the edge quality. And if I'm painting a portrait, do I want it to be a soft round, or am I going to have just some planes side by side? And I need to know that as I'm painting, rather than being like, I'm going to put everything down and then I'll just figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this because if you think about all the old masters, they were masters not only of one medium, but multiple, you know, so you have Sargent and Homer and Rembrandt, and all of them did ink washes, or they would do some form of water soluble medium with, and they would practice it a lot. And I really believe that's one of the reasons why their oil paintings were so strong, is because their vocabulary of what they were forced to do in one medium, they would carry over in another, and it would actually make a huge improvement in their medium that was their main choice, you know? So, which is why I think everyone should at least give it a shot, because you can imagine that it can be very freeing, because you also, the cost in some senses is low, because you can go out there, do a quick sketch, and if it goes to crap really quickly, well, that's okay. It only took you a certain amount of hours versus it taking you days or weeks, you know, so the risk is low. But it looks like we have him cut off for a second. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, I'm just back again. There we go. Now I can see you again.
Yes.
Sorry about that. So you were saying,
I carried over the conversation until you got back.
You did great. You did great. So you were just saying that all of the masters ended up using some kind of water-soluble medium and getting pretty good at it.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back, everyone sketched and everyone did something that was in a quick format in order for them to not only be able to get things down quickly, but also because I really believe that it adds to the vocabulary for the main medium of choice, and it broadens your spectrum of understanding. And it creates a larger amount of vocabulary to create better poetry. You know, did I lose you again? Oh man, we're cutting out all the time. It's okay. We're going to make sure that in the future we got this. I see that you're coming back on. So a couple of things just so that people know what's going on here. This workshop that we're doing is coming on August 28th through the 31st. It is a landscape painting in gouache. It is going to be a very small, intimate group, of which we only have about 4 slots left, but we're only taking a maximum amount of 8 people, and that way everyone has a high devotion of time. So with that, we let's just kind of talk through a little bit of what the logistics of it, just so people know what's going on. So this is going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, specifically a suburb of it called Cary. And we are fortunate to live right next to a massive national park or national reserve, and that was donated by a very wealthy family here. And they've got the most beautiful sort of stony brooks. And so I'm going to show pictures some of some of the area. This is literally right about a 10-minute walk from my studio, but there's these gorgeous like stony brook areas, as well as some open air areas as well. This is, in fact, one of a little plein air painting I did in the fall last year, just for the fun of it. And so we'll cycle through a few of these at different times of just different areas for people to see where they'll be painting. And so it'll be one of those things where in the morning we'll do like a quick little breakfast. We'll meet at the East Oak studio, and then we'll go out and plein air paint. But then we're going to be having everything sort of set up to film the demonstration as well, live on site. So, but speaking of, if you want to know more information about it, if you are on the East Oaks page on Instagram, you just go to the link in the description, which everyone knows, but I usually want to throw it up there just to make sure that everyone knows exactly where to go. It's right where that red arrow is. And then from there, the big painting, click on the big painting, the only painting really on the link tree is the very top of the page. And that will direct you straight to our website for you to know more information about this. But I'll pop this up once or twice. I also wanted to share it with you on our page on YouTube. Sorry, it took me a second because I'm so single-tasked. Our page on YouTube is very similar. So here, let me just show you what you need to do. So at the bottom of the YouTube, on the YouTube page, let me just take this off so you know that like where we're looking here. On the bottom of the YouTube page here, you might see that the chat is up. Well, just if you click off of the chat, you'll see that there's a description below. You just click into the description and it's this link right there. So wait, let me just make sure everyone can see. Sorry. Screen share. For some reason, it doesn't want to share. Anyway, it's a link in the description. It's funny, no matter how much I practice this before we start, it's always something. But if you're familiar with YouTube, just click out of the chat if you're on your phone. It will be right below that. And all you have to do is go straight to the link from there. So anyway, keep going, my friend. I just wanted to like put that out there before we kept going too far. So also, if y'all have any questions, feel free to put some questions in the chat. I'm sure that people hear a little bit of your accent. Where originally are you from, and what town?
Originally I am from Australia. I grew up in Brisbane and went to school in Sydney.
Nice. And
Yeah.
when did you make it over to across the pond? And was it because of family, or that you decided that you just wanted to uh, experience a new country, and then you ended up staying? Like, what's that story?
Oh, I think, oh, no, we're back again. So I came across about 13 years ago,
Okay.
and my wife had come to Australia to do some research back in the day. She wasn't my
Hmm.
wife at the time, but that's where we met. And so we met her, and then I ended up coming back across to America to visit her a couple of times.
Hmm.
And in the end, we ended up deciding we were going to stay in America.
Nice,
And
man.
yeah,
And how many kids do you have these days?
we have two kids,
And y'all
18.
travel like all over. You kind of live a bit of a nomadic life, right? As an
That's
artist.
right. So we ended up last year. We ended up selling our house and getting a camper van, and we basically travel full time. We kind of figured if I'm a plein air painter, landscape artist, I may as well go to all the beautiful places. There's so much
Right.
that is around the states, and so last year we went up and down the Rockies. This year, well, for now, we're going up East Coast, and next year we're going to do West Coast.
Wow. Man,
Yeah,
that's
it's
incredible.
just
I mean,
crazy
I
life.
think that there's a lot of artists that have that as a dream. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
the dream for sure.
they're like, babe, what if we just like sold everything and got an RV and just went across the country? And you're literally doing what a lot of us wish to do. We even
Yeah,
thought
that's
about
right.
East Oaks doing that at one point.
We're literally
When I had
living the dream.
partners, we all were like, what if we just did that?
Yeah,
So I love it, and I bet your kids are going to have the most incredible experiences doing that.
absolutely. It's such an amazing experience for all of us.
Man, that's pretty incredible. Well, I'm going to answer what I feel like a lot of questions are that people might have, like considering that it's a plein air situation, like
Yeah,
what if it rains? So to answer that question, we also have everything in studio as well. So, what we're going to do is make sure that we have some incredible reference images and shots that we've taken of all the little plein air locations. And what we're going to do is have Justin teach in the studio instead. And we're very well equipped for studio settings because we've done that for many years now.
yeah.
So, so this is something we're very used to, would not be an issue at all. And many things I'm sure that Justin is going to be teaching, he can teach indoors. It's just obviously it's more fun to do it outdoors. So,
It is more fun.
right. So,
There's something else
we
to it.
will, yeah, exactly. And if there's another day, like one of the days maybe that is available for us to go out, it's not like we'll say, no, you can only be in the studio this one time. Like we'll do the
We'll make
studio
it
one
happen.
day and then we'll go out the next day
Yeah,
if we have the opportunity present itself to us. So that's one of the things that I think a lot of people would want to know about. So, just to go through some of the days and what we'll be doing. The first day, we're going to do an introduction to gouache and its importance in the lives of plein air painters. I think another thing that a lot of people would be interested in if they're very starting out on the plein air journey is just to know about like the plein air circuit. Like
oh yeah,
it's
yeah. We can talk about that for
amazing
sure.
how many plein air events there are. Now, obviously, Eric Rhodes does a great job of probably covering all of this, considering he's owns Plein Air magazine.
Yeah,
But just to give people just a bit of perspective, and I'm sure you'll be talking a little bit of about this on day one, but what it will be like, uh, what kind of community there is out there for plein air painters.
yeah. There's definitely a big community of people who really love plein air painting. It's a huge range of
Mm.
people. There's probably a majority of it, to be honest, is
Mhm.
retirees, people who have finished their life and said, "I've always wanted to be a painter, so now I'm going to do it." But there is probably in the last 4 or 5 years, there's been like a really big push of people my age and who are in it to really
Mhm.
absorb what nature has
Mhm.
to teach us, and is really sort of on the path of wanting to know. And to me, that's my favorite thing. Like when I do go out into plein air events and you find people who are really, they're doing what I do, and that's hard to find in
Yeah.
everyday life.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
So the second day, we're going to work on abstraction and finding clarity amidst the confusion. You want to explain that just a little bit?
Oh yeah. So what we're doing as artists, doubly so as plein air artists, is we're taking the three-dimensional world and we're literally removing a whole dimension
Mm.
out of it. And when you stand there in front of a scene and there's literally 100,000 leaves in front of you, like how do you take this place where I could paint everything, and if I were to paint everything, it would be a terrible painting, and really boil it down and bring it into um, the abstraction of like what am I actually seeing, and what are my eyes drawn to, what's important to me. And so there's this idea that it's not just what we're painting, but our
Yeah.
perception of it. And that's going to bring us to a point where we're painting a very human, very emotional, kind of
Hmm.
compelling scene, rather than feeling like you have to do it right and you're just there. And so there's a lot of tools for abstraction, a lot of tools for getting things to a point where I can
Hmm.
communicate. And especially it's gouache, right? So we have to communicate quickly
Yeah.
and then thoroughly, almost in that way, right? And so we're going to talk a lot about how to
Hmm.
simplify. And in a lot of people, that's going to sound like, how do I make simple paintings? But it's almost the opposite. You need to find a way to simplify in order to communicate clearly and bring in a sense of complexity into the simplification. And what we're always looking for
Yeah.
is clarity. Especially, you go out there, you maybe have 2 hours to do a painting. If I try to paint something that is unclear, like there's no way I'm making a
Mhm.
good painting of it. And so there's a sense of having to find clarity first, and then simplify, and then make it interesting and complex. And nature already has most of that sorted out for us. So it's kind of about tuning into that in the way that we perceive and the way that we can work. But we want to do that in a way that's
Mhm.
manageable, because it can be completely
Yeah.
overwhelming. And so it's there's a lot to be worked on and to be said in that. It's
Man,
I love it.
that's awesome. You know, there's so much to be learned when it comes down to like design and understanding that abstraction plays such a
Yeah,
large role that there's a lot to learn in how to create incredible shapes in design, you know? So, the third day, we're
yeah,
going to work on practical strategies for working quickly and accurately. And that I think is very self explanatory. And on
yeah.
working on advanced layering, balancing, and finishing. So, uh, it's interesting. We've been talking about this. Is gouache one that you often do a whole lot of layers, or is it one of those kind of like oil that you can do it direct or indirect and it doesn't matter?
You can basically, gouache is the most versatile medium that I've
Okay.
ever found. You can take it in any direction you want. You can paint like a watercolor. You can paint like an oil painting. You can paint just as direct as you possibly.
Looks like we lost him again. Hold on just a second, everyone.
So versatile means that there's in those different options that you could consider. Then you can accidentally reactivate it and have it sort of turn up, and suddenly everything's all over the place again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
so
Awesome. Well, I think that everyone would probably want to know that the way everything is set up is you're going to have your own like location, and Justin will go around to each one of you and give you each individual instruction while also doing a demonstration himself. And then as far as transportation is concerned, we will be providing transportation for us to get to all the locations. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Now, it is also for people online. If you want to know more about that, all you have to do is go back yet again to the link in our link tree, and it'll take you to our website, and it'll bring up this location. Just click on that and it'll take you to our website, and you can know more about the live stream that is a part of our platform. If you're already a member, you will be fortunate enough to already have access to it. And our memberships are quarterly and annually. And so you'll have access of hundreds and hundreds of hours of incredible painters, over 30, 35 painters that we incredibly known people that have all done tutorial videos, and we have them broken down into days and incremental tutorials. So we're so fortunate and excited about having Justin be a part of our team when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Justin, tell me, is there anything else that our audience needs to know before we get off today?
Let's see. Not in particular. I think it's going to be really fun. I am mostly just looking forward to being there and to being able to communicate. I find between here I'm communicating a topic or an idea, but having a situation where we can talk about it and then you can do it, and then we can be like, okay, cool. Here's how to take it further, and here's how to maybe another way of looking at it to try and like communicate human to human, person to person. And so I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Well, everyone, we hope that you join us yet again. For everyone, the days that we are doing it is August 28th through 31st. We'd love for you to join us in person, join us online, one way or another. Please feel free to send us questions and comments. And Justin, we're looking forward to having you here, buddy. And for anyone else, if you want any more information, just make sure you go to our website, and all the information is there. And if you can't find something, email us at info@eastoaksstudio.com. And I hope everyone, including you, Justin, have a fabulous weekend.
You too.
All right, everyone. Until next time, we'll catch you a little bit later.